Welcome back. I know that you guys went over factoring a little bit more today in class, and now we're just going to do some more practice. So we are going to do factoring practice today. Just because the more practice you do, the better it's going to be. And this is going to be page 28. Okay, so factoring practice. These problems are going to come from 4-16 in your book, in case you just want to take your book out. Otherwise, I'm going to write them all down. Okay, there's going to be 4 of them, and I'm going to have you do the first one and then go over it, and then I'm going to have you do the other 3. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do letter A. Okay, so we have x squared plus 9x plus 18. Okay, and go ahead and factor that. The video is going to pause. You're going to put in your answer, and then I'm going to go over it. So we're going to follow all the steps that we learned the other day. So we're going to start with our area model. We put our first and last terms in the diagonals. And then what do we do with those two values? Hopefully you know that you multiply them. I'm going to circle and multiply. That'll be 18x squared. And now I'm going to make my diamond. And what should I be putting in the bottom? I should be putting that middle term, which is a plus 9x. So now we're trying to find two numbers that multiply to 18x squared and add to 9x. Multiply to 18x squared, adding to 9x. Hopefully you got that that's going to be 6x and 3x, because 6x plus 3x is 9x, 6x times 3x is 18x. Those go in the corners. And now we're going to find what goes around. Okay, we find our greatest common factor here, x squared plus 6x. They have an x in common. 18 and 3x, those have a 3. X squared and 3x have an x. 6x and 18 have a 6. So that means our factored form is going to be x plus 6 times x plus 3. And that's our factored form. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the next 3 problems, and I want you to try all of them before I go over them. So, letter B. So that's 4x squared plus 17x minus 15. I apologize that you might not be able to read that, but that is a 17. Letter C is going to be 4x squared minus 8x plus 3. And then the final one you're going to do, letter D, will be 3x squared plus 5x minus 3. So go ahead and do those 3 problems. Again, the video is going to stop. You're going to put in your answers, and then I will be going over them after. So we'll start with 4x squared plus 17x minus 15. I'm going to start by drawing my area model. We put our first and last terms inside, and we multiply. Oh no, I don't remember what 4 times 15 is, so I'm going to put that right in my calculator. 4 times negative 15, negative 60. So that's going to be negative 60x squared. And then inside our diamond, we put that middle term, which is plus 17x. Okay. So here's where it gets hard, right? We need to figure out something that multiplies to negative 60 and adds to 17. Now that's pretty hard. So what I like to do is I like to just have my calculator here and I say, okay, what multiplies to 60? Well, if I divide 60 by 2, I get 30. Can I make a 30 using, can I make a 17 using a 30 and a 2? No, because 30 minus 2 is 28. 30 plus 2 is 32, so that doesn't work. Okay. What about 60 divided by 3? That's 20. Well, if I have 20 and 3, can I make a 17? Yes, right? I can do plus 20x minus 3x. 20 times negative 3 is a negative 60. 20 minus 3 gives us that 17. So that's how you're going to do that. A little trick to remember is if this is a negative up here, you will always have one negative, one positive. Okay, down here, positive, negative, negative, positive. One has to be each because that has to equal a negative. And then we find our GCFs. 20x and 4x squared have a 4x. Negative 3x and negative 15 have a negative 3. 4x squared and negative 3x have an x. And 20x minus 15 have a positive 5. Okay. The reason I put a negative 3 here is because they both are negative here, and I can pull that out. Another way to remember that is whatever's closest here, that's going to be the sign of that number. So this should be 4x minus 3 times x plus 5. Okay. Letter C. Make the area model. Four x squared plus 3, multiply. That'll be 12x squared. Make the diamond, and we put negative 8x in there. Okay, so we're trying to multiply to 12. Well, we think about what multiplies to 12. 3 and 4. Does 3 and 4 make a negative 8? No, okay. 12 and 1. Does that make a negative 8? No. Okay. 6 and 2. Okay. 6 and 2, if they're both negatives, I can get that negative 8. So if this is negative 6x, negative 2x, does that make a positive 12x squared? It does, because two negatives make a positive. And again, we find our GCFs. 4x squared and negative 2x have a 2x. Negative 6x and a positive 3 have a negative 3. Again, we take this sign and pull it down. 4x squared and negative 6x have a 2x. And then negative 2 and 3 have a negative 1. So our answer would be 2x minus 3, 2x minus 1. And then the final one, again, same steps. We have 3x squared minus 3. We multiply. That'll be a negative 9x squared. And then we put that 5x in the bottom, okay? So now we're trying to multiply to negative 9 and add to 5. Well, what multiplies negative 9? We have 3 and negative 3. That doesn't make a 5. Negative 9 and 1. That doesn't make a 5. Well, that's all that multiplies to 9. Neither of those add to 5. So all we write here is this is not factorable. And that's perfectly fine to be not factorable. Some will not be factorable, and you just have to recognize when that happens. All right, that's all for tonight.